Official introduction of Harold Gray, the big favorite in Cartagena, Colombia. Champion is Carlos Salazar from Capital Federal, Argentina.
Campeón del mundo de Argentina, que pesó 114.4, Carlos Gabriel Salazar.
And the champion Salazar. The rules by the IBF. Very simple. Why don't you tell us about them, Arnie?
Well, the regular IBF rules, you've seen them before. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. You can't be saved by the bell in any round. The mandatory 8 count is in effect, and of course, they're judging on the 10-point must system. Every time I read those rules, I feel like Harold Letterman.
You don't sound like him, though.
No, I wouldn't insult Harold by doing my Harold imitation. Especially since we're close friends and I want to keep the friendship.
Al Munoz is the referee, and here we go. This is the fight we've been waiting for. The rematch from October 7th, 1995. Harold Gray has not fought since that night. Very disappointed to lose his first fight and his championship to Carlos Salazar.
And almost a common theme in some of our fights tonight, of course, we got the lefty-righty matchup as Carlos Salazar comes out in the familiar southpaw stance.
In their first fight, it really turned into a rumble as the fight progressed. I don't know if Harold Gray wants that kind of fight again.
I'd look for Harold Gray to come out and start fast. I don't think this is a fight that he necessarily wants to take into the late rounds. And he tries to land a left right. A good counterpunch again by Salazar. Something he did very good in the first fight, Larry.
Well, there was a knockdown in the first fight. It was Salazar knocking Gray down. Gray got up, but went on to lose that decision.
Salazar, 4th try winning the title. We'll give a quick recap. The first time was back in 1990. He was obviously a much younger fighter, 26 years of age. He went over to Thailand, lost a 12-round decision to Sachidalata.
Easy for you to say.
Easy for me that I practiced. Then July 93, Sung Kil Moon over in Korea lost a 12-round decision. August of 94, Hiroshi Kawashima in Japan lost a 12-round decision, finally on a 4th try in his home of Argentina. Of course, winning a 12-round decision over Harold Gray. You had mentioned earlier the guys like this hold on to titles. Marcos Villasana, case in point. Didn't win a title until his 4th try. Went on to defend the title successfully 5 or 6 times before finally losing it.
Carlos Salazar fought for the Argentinian Olympic team at the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles, turned pro in '85. And Gray showing a lot of respect for Salazar early.
Quickly also, other weight class, you have people like Frank Bruno finally winning on a 4th try, losing in the first defense.
It's another one.
Jersey Joe Walcott defended it 1 time after finally winning the heavyweight championship in the rematch in his 4th fight with Ezra Charles, and then lost, of course, to Rocky Marciano. Not as aggressive as I expected Harold Gray to be here in round number 1, Larry.
Showing a lot of respect. And his combinations as he moves forward, seemingly awkwardly. And there you go, another counterpunch there by Salazar. Gray throws those combinations, walks in like that, Arnie. His hands come down, and he's wide open. We talked about the psychological impact of losing that title for Harold Gray. He didn't fight after losing that title, and sometimes those doubts begin to really set up in a person's mind. Need to get in there again, I think, and really try to bounce back, even if it's against a lesser opponent, just to get the feel of victory again.
Over 6 months since he's been in the ring.
See Gray reaching with those punches. Salazar coming back behind the left hand.
what's happening is Gray is throwing that right-hand lead, but it's a little tentative, and that left's coming right over the top, as it did again. Just caught him on the neck, though, this time on the part of Salazar.
Crowd reacting to that exchange. Right hand by Gray off the mark. Salazar ducks to left of Gray.
And he's able to do that as he did in the first fight. Salazar is going to be able to slip that left hand all night long.
A cut on the head of Salazar. Can't see it from this angle, but you saw the referee, Al Munoz, taking a look. There it is. Right above the left eye of the champion Salazar. We don't know whether that was a punch or a butt, but clearly some blood from the eye of the champion.
And the referee is going to have to declare it at the end of this round whether he thought that cut came from a headbutt or not, Larry. IBF rules will have us go into the scorecards at the end of 6. If 6 haven't been completed, we're looking at a no contest in case this fight got stopped.
Harold Gray, I don't know if that has made him focus anymore. He certainly looks more focused than at the start of this fight.
And take a look at the welt underneath the left eye of Harold Gray.
Yeah. That might have been the contact.
Yeah. Those heads were starting to bang in close there.
Salazar missing wildly as Gray backs away. Gray really not going after the eye of Salazar. Salazar was cut in their first fight under his right eye.
Salazar just dropped a nice left hook in there on Gray.
We'll go to the corner of Salazar between rounds and check out that cut. Right now, not a lot of blood.
It's bleeding, but it doesn't appear to be going into the eye.
I think Tyson is the greatest heavyweight.
Should be working the ends well throughout that round, and that left eye of Harold Gray could get worse. And let's see what's going on here. Referee wants the corner to clean up real quick and get out of the ring. Here we go, round 3. A tough 2 rounds to judge.
And I gave them both for the champion Salazar, quite frankly. And I'm watching Harold Gray. I mean, he opens up the round with a double jab and a right. And all day long, Salazar is going to know that's coming. He's no way that he's getting hit with left jabs and standard operating procedure.
Left hand by Gray, just misses. The blood has stopped from the cut over the left eye of Salazar. So good work at the corner of the champion. Salazar, that's the same punch that knocked down Gray last fight.
And for the same reason. Gray dropped that right.
Salazar has the quick left that can get through the guard of Harold Gray.
And Gray was a respected knockout artist, Larry, up until he won the world title. 15 knockouts, of course, in his total 20 wins. But it's really, when you get down to it, it's 15 knockouts in his 16 non-title wins.
In fact, he had a streak of 9 straight knockouts leading up to his first title shots.
Only person that had gone the distance with him was Alvaro Vega back in August of '91, 6-round decision. All of his other wins came via the knockout route.
Nice quick jab by the champion, Salazar.
Salazar with a 40-6 record, 1 draw, 16 knockouts to his own. He's only been stopped 1 time. That was back in November of '90 against Hugo Soto. He's got a very good chin.
Every punch that Gray lands creates a huge reaction from the fans.
But he's wasted energy and just a wasted strategy trying to paw out there with that jab. And you see when he throws that right hand lead, off balance, coming forward, and it's a tendency again to drop that right. I really wonder how much they've corrected a lot of the things that cost him his title the first time out. If they went into this thinking that the only reason they lost was because they were in Argentina, they made a big mistake.
Good body work. And maybe a trickle of blood now from the left eye of Harold Gray.
That welt that we were talking about that you said they didn't use the end swell between rounds definitely has opened up. And that is in a bad place.
Right in the corner of a swollen eye.
That's going to start to flow into the eye. And again, we have no idea at this point whether any of these cuts have been declared due to headbutts. My guess is that they haven't.
Corner of Harold Gray working feverishly on that cut. There's a sharp right hand.
That was the best right hand lead that he threw in the fight. Caught Salazar off balance. Salazar couldn't react to it. Very good punch there. But all in all, another very good round for the champion. And now they're going to work.
That's on the lid. That's right at the top of the eyelid. Right between the lid and the brow. And I don't know what it is. I've never seen anything that color put on a cut before.
I was about to say, I don't know if it's the bruise in the eye that's that color.
I think that's something they put on there.
We'll have to check it closer next round, or as the round progresses, to see if it comes off. We'll know.
Sure looks like that's a colored ointment that they put on there. Some kind of coagulant that has a color to it.
Well, we're going to see right now, by putting that color on there, they're making a great target for Salazar.
It's like a bullseye.
We'll see if he takes advantage of it. A little desperation now in Gray as he's starting to open up and throw those rights. Landing pretty good, and he shook Salazar a little there, Larry. Best punches thus far in the fight for the former champion.
Harold Gray at 5'6", Carlos Salazar 5'4". Gray with a 2-inch reach advantage. Once again, Gray looks like the bigger man. The style of Salazar, that crouching style, takes some of his height away from him. Gray moving forward. Salazar content to counter.
Actually unusually passive considering the state of Harold Gray's eye, and I think he's still trying to get his bearings back there for he ate those two right hands early in the round.
It's a right hand by Salazar. Salazar sustained a cut over his left eye, but really has closed up quickly and has not been a problem. Clubbing left hand off the shoulder of Gray, and the blood beginning to flow out of the eye of Harold Gray. There you can see it clearly.
It's in a very bad place, Larry. And again, no clear declaration as of yet whether the referee said it's been caused by a headbutt. If it is, then they would need to complete 6 rounds to go to the cards. If it isn't, and they stop the fight on cuts, that's it. Salazar would be world champion. He'd retain his title.
Salazar keeps that chin right down against his chest. Good defensive posture by the champion.
And again, after 47 professional fights, he's only been stopped that one time, and that was back in 1990 by Hugo Soto. And he came in for that fight at 110 pounds. Good left hook lands in there, and again, Gray's dropping that right hand. Getting hit with that left hook.
A little swelling around the right eye now of Harold Gray, so both eyes of Gray becoming a factor here in the 4th round. Fans trying to rally behind Harold Gray.
Ooh, good body shot in there by Gray. And that might be a direction he needs to examine as to really start working the body. And look how high up the shorts are on Salazar. I'm sure he was told by the ref that I'm going to call anything on that belt line good. It's not going to be considered a low blow. Shorts up very high.
Left eye of Harold Gray, a real mess right now. Cut in the corner of his left eye. And here we go. Clash of heads again as they lock up. Being done in both corners as we start round 5. How do you have this thing scored through 4?
39-37 for Carlos Salazar. But a very good 4th round, and we can see if there's going to be a momentum shift here for the former champion Harold Gray. And I'll tell you, they haven't done a very good job on this cut, Larry.
No, it's bleeding already in the opening moments here of this round. And Salazar working that right jab, using that eye as a target.
And I'm wondering right now, you know, you can't put, a lot of times you bring a cut man to a fight, you import him in from other countries, you try to get the best, and, you know, you pay the guy, maybe if you're lucky, you don't have to use him.
Right.
A lot of times, though, you try to cheap it out. You say, my fighter doesn't cut, I'm not bringing in somebody, and as you pointed out, they didn't use the end swell after the second round, and now it looked like they were using a styptic pencil to try to stem the flow of that blood, of that cut.
It's not exactly a shaving cut, is it?
No, and that's why, you know, and again, condolences to the family of the late Eddie Aliano, who just passed away. That's why, though, he was virtually brought all around the world as other cut men are. Ralph Citro, late Ace Murata.
Yep.
Some of the better cut men in the business.
That's a tough business to learn, I would think.
I always kid my daughters. I say this, that's what you should be when you grow up. Be a cut man. There's a big demand for it, and it pays pretty good.
Action beginning to fit into a pattern here as we approach the 1 minute mark in round 5. Neither fighter really has scored many punches here in round 5. I don't know if either guy's taken the round off, but Gray diving forward and eats a left hand from Salazar as he came in.
A little quiet around. Another good cut man I know that we've seen on our network, Jim Strickland, brought all the way from Chicago always to South Africa to work with the South African fighters. They know the importance of a good, experienced cut man, and Strickland, of course, is a registered pharmacist on top of it.
Harold Gray trying to get aggressive here in the closing moments of round 5.
Salazar tagged him again with that left hook and backed him right up. And Salazar was fighting very well, moving backwards. And he caught Gray coming in.
Every time Gray begins to feel some confidence, Salazar puts him in his place.
Salazar just popped that jab right into that cut too, Larry. Really starting to work on it. And that right hand lead of Gray looking even sloppier right now.
As he comes in, Arnie, he drops his hands. Gray comes in firing shots. Both arms go down. Salazar with that nice defensive stance.
To 31-11.
Here we go, round 6.
You know, Larry, we were talking between rounds about that cut on the eye of the former champion Harold Gray, and they're just not doing the right thing for it. He's going out and it's still bleeding. They've done nothing to stem the flow of the blood. They think just by putting some Vaseline on it, and as you had mentioned to me between rounds, Salazar just has to land the right shot there, and that's going to split wide open like a watermelon.
Yep, and that lid is a place that the doctors, no matter what country, you don't mess with those cuts. Because that's a permanent injury situation if you rip that eyelid. Oh, strong right hand and a left by the champion. And Gray is rocked. He says no, but he means yes. See if Salazar can follow up. Another left by Salazar.
Oh, look at Salazar.
Another
beautiful left hook. Larry, Gray is keeping those hands very low right now. Salazar just hit him with a left hook. I don't know what's keeping Gray up. That was the same shot that dropped him in their first fight. Very shaky legs right now for Gray.
Salazar now bleeding from that cut. That cut over. His left eye is opened up again. Harold Gray lunging in. Stiff left again by the champion Salazar.
Salazar not thinking about that cut at all right now. He could taste it. He's landing at will.
He's taken a lot out of Harold Gray in this round. Another left by Salazar.
Low blow. Very low blow on the part there of Harold Gray. Gets a warning from the referee. Salazar doesn't want to think about it, though. He wants to get back in there because he knows his man is dead.
Sharp left hand by Salazar on the button of Gray. Another one.
And you got to respect the heart of Harold Gray. I don't know what's keeping him up, and he comes punching back right now.
Right hand by Gray scores. Salazar looks awkward now. Another low blow by Gray. Gray's right hand doing some damage. Salazar looking weary. Another left by Salazar. A right by Salazar. Salazar looking very tired here.
He threw a lot of punches in the first minute and a half. He's landing incredible blows on Harold Gray, who comes back with great shots of his own. Remember,
good body shot by Gray.
Harold Gray's never been stopped. Salazar's only been stopped once. We're talking about guys with rock chins here. Well, these were the same kind of shots that dropped Harold Gray in their first fight. I don't know what's keeping him up, Larry. Never mind being able to punch back like this.
Great round. Harold Gray turning the tide. He was in some trouble early, then he got Salazar in trouble late. Gray coming on strong at the end of this round. Left hand by Gray. A right hand by Gray. 10 seconds to go in round 6. Salazar missing wildly. Another wild miss by Salazar. A low blow by Gray. Another low blow by Gray. And after the bell rings, Gray continues to fight. Referee Al Munoz losing control of this fight.
And Larry, absolutely right. He had already given a warning after the first low blow. There had to be 6 more low blows. And we're going to take a look at action here from round number 6. And very early in the round, big shots on the part of the champion Carlos Salazar, who's, as you mentioned during the fight, his left eye's opened up also, but not in the same sort of a spot where Harold Gray's cut is.
The swelling on there, however, Harold Gray's left eye is gone, but the blood continues. There's that looping right hand.
And that started the downfall for about 90 seconds of brilliant work by Carlos Salazar, and then inexplicably back comes Harold Gray and manages to rock Salazar before the round is over.
Instinctively,
and drop 6 low blows besides.
Just instinctively fighting for survival. Let's see what the call is here. The referee completely losing control of this fight. People are ringside in an argument. People throwing things into the ring. It's a wild scene in Cartagena. And the action continues in the ring. Harold Gray appears sharp right now, focused. Salazar ended that last round a little weary.
But keep an eye on that low right hand. Look how...
Wow, what a low punch by Salazar there. Almost hit Gray in the kneecap.
Payback time. The referee's not going to do it for you. Do it for yourself. Believe me, they told him that in the corner. Go out there, and the first thing we want you to do is hit him low.
Now, we figured this is going to be a war as a result of what their first fight was like, but never thought it would be this violent.
No, it's an incredible pace, and we're only in the 7th round of a scheduled 12 rounder. Both fighters very experienced at going the distance. I'm not sure that either one of them, though, has ever been in a 12-round fight with this sort of pace. As you said, Larry, the first one wasn't like this. It was a great fight, but it did not have this pace or intensity.
The tape on the right glove of Harold Gray becoming loose. See if the referee's on top of that. Right here, midway through the round, both fighters cruising just a bit. Trying to set up some shots. The right jab by Salazar. Referee sees the tape on the glove of Harold Gray and calls a stop to the action.
And tell me this isn't a problem in boxing that you didn't see 10 years ago, this tape. They can't invent the tape that when it gets wet stays on.
I like that duct tape idea that they use in some of the venues, because that does not come off.
No.
Nice left hand by Gray. The cut left eye of Harold Gray opening up again. Salazar has had a hard time reaching that eye.
Another low blow. I wonder if Al Munoz is afraid to take the point away, start a riot here in Cartagena.
Really? Left hand by Salazar. Gray ducks the left that time, and Salazar tars him up.
Not a bad round, though, for Gray.
Oh, clipping the right hand there by Salazar, just missing the mark. Another right hand by Salazar.
Starting to tattoo that cut again.
Another right by Salazar. That jab of Salazar beginning to find a home there.
He's got a great target right now.
Right hand by Gray. beat Salazar to the punch, but you can see that cut has opened up significantly from those right jabs of Salazar.
And Larry, they don't have a clue what to do about it in the corner. I'm surprised it's as together as it is at this point.
Gray falls down, a fatigue situation there, a slip. Salazar wants the knockdown, doesn't get it, in the end of the round. Minute to go in round 8. Salazar looking to hold on. Gray won't let him. Good body shots by Gray. Salazar wobbled. Another right hand by Gray. Left hand by Salazar. Slows Gray down just a bit. Nothing behind Salazar's punches right now, Arnie.
No, Salazar looks very fatigued. Gray looked almost surprised, though, that he hurt him. Didn't take advantage.
Good right hand by Harold Gray, and another right hand. Gray's best round of this fight. Big left hand by Gray. Another right by Gray. And a body shot by Gray. Salazar surviving on instinct. Combination by Gray. Crowd on their feet in Cartagena as Harold Gray peppers the head of Carlos Salazar. Big round for Harold Gray.
And Larry, I got to tell you, Carlos Salazar became an old man 60 seconds into that round.
Think Tyson is the greatest heavyweight?
I don't think so, because he stood up halfway through the break thinking it was time to go back out. I don't think he has a clue. His head's still ringing from last round. He was keeping his hands incredibly low at the end of the round. All the things that had him winning the early rounds in this fight went away. But look at that cut, bleeding again.
Big time blood from the eye of Harold Gray. Now, Salazar needs to find a third win here. Salazar trying to use that right hand. Harold Gray walking through the right hand. There's a jab by Salazar right on that eye.
And Salazar needs to get his arms moving again. He's very punched out right now.
Strong right by Harold Gray. Rocks Salazar.
Salazar feeling every bit of the 47 pro fights he's had before this, Larry. Looking like a very old man right now. Look where his arms are.
Another right by Harold Gray. Harold Gray really turning the tide of this fight last round in the 8th. And continues in the 9th. Blood from the eye of Salazar. The champion, his hands are down. Gray still looks sharp. Salazar's got to get his... Look at that blood now. The left eye of Salazar busted wide open. Now that cut beginning to look a little bit like Harold Gray's cut.
And it might just be starting to flow into that corner as well, Larry.
Both guys bleeding profusely from their left eyes. And right now, Harold Gray imposing his will on the champion, looking to regain his belt. What's keeping Salazar up? Another right by Gray. Another right by Gray.
They're going to stop this. I got news for you. Salazar can't defend himself. He can't keep his arms up. He's just a punching bag right now.
Harold Gray really showing some guts, being able to draw from something, some strength from somewhere to take the fight to the champion.
If Gray would just show a little bit of poise right now and just time a shot, he could end this fight. Salazar can't even hold his hands up to protect himself. Gray just needs it. And Gray's, like, for unknown reasons, is throwing wild right hands from the outside. Just time a nice 1-2 and this fight's over.
Another right by Gray. Salazar has nothing left. Combination by Harold Gray. Salazar throws out a lazy right hand. Gray comes in for the kill. Salazar, nothing there at all. Gray not throwing punches, though. And the eye of Gray is a mess as well.
And watch for Salazar's corner very closely between rounds. They may stop this fight. Their man is taking a pummeling in there. He can't defend himself.
Harold Gray, weary from punching himself out in the 9th round. What a round for the challenger, Harold Gray. Referee talking to the corner of Salazar. And big-time work going on in both corners to stop cuts.
And Larry, I have to tell you, I gave that round 10-8 to Harold Gray. It was so lopsided, even though there's been no knockdowns in the fight or that round. At the same time, if I had any criticism, though, of Harold Gray in that round, is he didn't show the poise of a former world champion. As we take a look at action from round number 9, if he would have just timed a few punches and moved in a little closer, he could have ended this fight. He's got the punching power to do it. Although you got to applaud Carlos Salazar's chin.
See the cut by Harold Gray's eye. When he leaves the corner, he looks okay, but as soon as he gets up, now the doctor taking a look at the eye of the champion, Carlos Salazar.
A Colombian doctor, incidentally. Let's say that before anything happens here.
All right, what are we doing now? We're going back to his corner, and what are we going to do?
First of all, the
fight is on. They're looking for his mouthpiece.
Well, I have to say, I mean, what happened there also wasn't right. The doctor should have come to his corner between rounds, not taken him to a neutral corner. You do that while a round is on, not in between rounds.
Here we go, round 10. Championship distance here now. Salazar, the champion, has really gone belly up the last 2 rounds. With 3 rounds to go, Arnie, how do you have it?
I gave the last round 10-8 to Harold Gray. It was that lopsided. I bet the fight dead even 85-85. A lot of those early rounds I gave to Salazar could have gone either way. Harold Gray, though, I mean, big momentum shift right now. If I was Salazar's people, I might have stopped the fight. He was a virtual punching bag last round. He cannot keep his hands up.
Good body shot by Gray to start the 10th round. Cuts don't seem to be a factor right now, even though both fighters have severe cuts over their left eyes, almost in identical places. Salazar has nothing behind his punches. 31 years old, you wonder, did he reach the wall?
Gray seems to be squinting now out of that left eye and was fighting on the outside for the first minute of the round.
Left jab there by Salazar. Back Gray up. Not a lot behind it, but put Gray off balance. Harold Gray biding his time for what reason here now?
You would think Gray would have come out of here
he
like
had
a
the
lion,
momentum.
and I don't understand it. He's letting Salazar back into the fight.
Salazar the right jab.
And he seemed to be squinting for a while, like as if something had gotten into his left eye, either the blood or whatever coagulant they've been using in his corner.
Nice right hand by Harold Gray. Slows Salazar down. Gray moving forward. Another right by Gray. He senses he has Salazar in deep trouble. Salazar still in front of him. Left hand by Salazar. Another left by Salazar. 10th round, back and forth they go. The eye of Gray, a mess again.
And there now, Larry, it's a battle of blood and fatigue. I tell you, I've seen these guys fight before. They've been the distance many times. They've never been in a 12-round battle with this kind of pace and this kind of blood and guts.
Not many guys have. Less than 50 seconds to go in round 10. This is a different Harold Gray than we saw in the 9th round. Much more tentative. A left hand by Salazar. Backs Gray up. Gray in a corner. Another left by Salazar.
Larry, Gray threw a lot of punches in the 9th round. A lot of them unnecessarily. If he would have just taken his time, he might not have had a 10th round. He could have put Salazar away. And right now, he's taken off a lot of round number 10.
Another tough round to call here, though, as we approach the final seconds of round 10. Salazar has had his moments in this round. Gray has had his. Left hand by Gray. Left hand by Salazar. Gray dancing away. Nice little body shot by Gray. 2 rounds to go. The old adage, you know, you have to beat the champion significantly. Has Harold Gray done that? Well, it's in Colombia, though.
I've got him ahead by a point right now, 95-94.
11th round underway.
Tough rounds to call.
A lot of blood has been spilled in this fight. Salazar chasing Gray around the ring. Salazar does not have much left. Salazar having a hard time with his footing as well.
Well, Gray didn't exactly, though, look like a punching machine in the 10th either. He threw so many punches in the 9th, and there seems to be a wet spot in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, the logo there is very wet. Salazar did a little pirouette there. as he slipped, and good sportsmanship by Gray to allow him to recover. There has to be mutual respect here.
Well, they've met before. And I'll tell you, whatever's going to happen here today, I mean, there's a strong case being built for a trilogy. And I think there was a very good chance that, Cedric Kushner and Billy Chams and company will all try to put together Salazar Gray 3.
It would be worth the money. Round 11 is showing the signs, the pace of this fight. Neither fighter with a lot of energy right now. And I would think if you're Salazar right now after those last few rounds, the 8th and the 9th specifically, that you got to get it going.
Well, except the one thing is the slower pace is right, I think, to the advantage of Salazar right now, not to Gray. Gray's the one I thought would be taking more advantage of the fatigue on the part of Salazar. And after that great 9th round, and can't quite figure out what's going on in Gray's head right now, and he slips to the canvas. Very wet canvas right now.
That's the
combination
corner
of water and blood all over the ring mat.
Right, that's the corner of Salazar right there, and Gray goes down again. That's water in the corner of Salazar, and the corner of Salazar wants Salazar to keep the heat on. Left hand by Salazar, and a right by Salazar. Catching Gray off balance there from being down, from slipping down. Salazar taking advantage of the left hand.
And I think they felt that either the bottoms of his soles are wet or he's fatigued, and that's why he's slipping so easily. But while he's that off balance, take advantage. And Salazar hasn't had a pretty good round 11 here for a man who we thought was out of it back in round number 9.
That's right. Closing seconds of the 11th round. Salazar due enough to win that round. If he did, the 12th round might be the decider. Salazar chasing Gray around the ring as the bell rings.
It's 104-104, dead even going into round number 12. A lot of close rounds during the fight, and of course I scored round number 9, 10-8 for Gray, in spite of the fact that there was no knockdowns.
Nice left hand by Salazar, body shot by Salazar. Now does Salazar need to turn it up here? Who knows? They're in Cartagena, Colombia. Of course, that is Harold Gray territory. Left hand by Salazar. And Gray says no, no. Gray dancing away. Gray seemingly feels he is in command of this fight the way he's fighting the final round.
Well, if his corner's telling him that he's ahead, then there's no need to go out and slug with Salazar, who certainly had him rocked many times during the fight. Then he may be following their instructions. It's not clear what Salazar's corner's telling him.
Well, Gray is holding, and he doesn't really need to hold. I think that's a sign that he thinks he is in front. Left hand by Salazar, left hand by Gray. Little shoulder there by Salazar. Harold Gray fighting from a distance. We don't know if Salazar has the power right now to put Gray down.
Knockdown, though, certainly would figure big in the scoring at this point.
Salazar really chasing Gray around the ring. A very defensive Harold Gray in the final round.
I think his corner told him that he's ahead. And don't do anything stupid in round number 12. Again, I've got it dead even and very close. And that's not to say that he's losing this 12th round either. He's just fighting tentatively.
Really, all the rounds have been close except for rounds 8 and 9, which were decidedly Harold Gray rounds.
Absolutely.
So if you tossed out all those tweeners, Harold Gray might have the edge. You never know.
Oh, if he got the edge on the close rounds across the board, then it's not even a close fight.
Left hand by Salazar, and Gray slips again in the corner. Corner of Salazar, imploring for Salazar to come forward, and you will not see Gray go towards that corner again.
No, do we have the 3-slip rule in effect?
Good right hand by Salazar. Gray holds on again.
Salazar finishing strong here in round number 12. Certainly needs this round.
Well, he's taken this round, but will it be enough? Left hand by Salazar. Closing moments of this championship fight. There it is. Harold Gray raises his hands as though he is victorious.
Well, Larry, he certainly came on very strong in the end. In particular, as you mentioned, the 8th and 9th round. It's amazing that he didn't drop Salazar in the 9th. He came out a little lackluster in the 10th, although winning it, wondering why he didn't come on strong. A very strong 11th round for the champion Salazar. I gave the 12th to Salazar as well. I've got Salazar winning this fight 114-113. But again, a lot of rounds could have gone either way. But that's what judging's about.
Both fighters bleeding throughout the fight from cuts over their left eyes. Harold Gray celebrating. Yeah, final round by Salazar, and he gave it everything he had.
And very lucky for Gray that the cut didn't factor in, as it turns out, because his corner did not do a good job with it.
The official decision.
Se lo vamos a presentar a nombre de los almacenes William Chang.
Mass confusion in there for Freddie Jeanette. Harold Gray holding his arms up.
I'll tell you this, as close as this fight is, though, Larry, you know, if this decision doesn't go towards Gray, this crowd's not going to be happy.
Vamos a pedirle la colaboración a todos para presentar, señoras y señores, la decisión oficial. Vamos a presentar la decisión oficial en todo el mundo. La decisión oficial de la pelea de campeonato mundial. Muchísima atención a Harold Gray, a Carlos Salazar. Harold Gray y Carlos Salazar, que se acerquen aquí con el tercer hombre sobre el cuadrilátero. Muchísima atención. Un referee. 115-113. Otro referee. 115-113. Y el tercer referee. 115-113. Nuevo campeón mundial Supermosca de Colombia, Harold Gray.
115-113 across the board. Harold Gray regains his championship.
Well, Larry, I could have gone either way. Again, I had it slightly for Salazar, 114-113. Let me say this. We're going to see a number 3. There has to be. This fight was very close. I'm sure that the people in the Salazar camp thought they won the fight.
For Arnie Rosenthal, Larry Michael, thanking you for joining us on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen in attendance and